Indianapolis, a middle-of-the-country city with a middle American culture. Or is it? This heartland city may seem homogeneous, even predictable. In fact, it is a city that mirrors America's diversity, as we shall see through looking at the observance of religion.
We want to worship you, Lord God. We want to esteem you. We want to exalt you, oh God, for above what you have given us, oh God. We want to focus on the precious Lord Jesus, God. Bless each of our participants. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar.
Religion reflects people's deepest beliefs.
Go down, Moses, way down in Egypt land. Tell old Pharaoh that my people go.
It is an expression of their most important customs, traditions, and values.
Jim, I baptize you in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit.
Religion is a window on culture. Indianapolis has a complex mix of people and faiths. By examining its religious traditions, we come to understand important values in our local and national culture. Indianapolis is a good place to seek this understanding.
It happens to have the circle around it. It happens to have highways coming. An aerial view, it almost looked like an ancient sacred site. Being, as I like to say, at the north of the south and the south of the north, it tends to have enough of Protestant Bible Belt and enough of Northern Catholic Rust Belt and a good sampling of Judaism and others with a very strong black presence. You can really take a slice there and say, more than most places, we found our laboratory or our window that'll tell us more.
Eastern European, Asian, and Latin American immigrants are the latest groups to enrich the city.
Lass uns zusammenbeten. Vater unser, der du bist im Himmel.
Each group brings its religion. Together, they reshape the city's culture. Religions serve similar purposes for their members.
This one person, amen, made the difference that you and I might have a right to the tree of life.
All religions explain the meaning of existence. All religions provide rules for living.
Is the purpose of Yom Kippur, and it is close to the essence of Judaism.
In looking at religion, we can appreciate our rich cultural diversity. We can also appreciate our similarities. This six-part video series examines 4 concepts: sacred space, sacred time, sacred memory, and sacred journey. Concepts shared by most religions. All religions designate particular space. Time.
Remove the crowns there.
Memories.
Wrapped in cloth and lying in a manger. Glory to God in the highest. Peace on earth and goodwill towards men.
And journeys as sacred. Sacred refers to the divine. Each episode of this series looks at the spaces, times, memories, and journeys that different religions designate as sacred. In this episode, we focus on sacred space.
Holy Immortal, have mercy on us. Holy God, Holy Mighty, Holy Immortal, have mercy on us.
Many people have special places, private spaces with special meaning. But sacred goes beyond being special. Sacred space is an area where people believe they have encountered the divine.
I would define sacred space as any space where an individual or a group of people have had an experience that we call an epiphany, a shining forth, a hierophany, a sacred thing appearing, a sense that here the gods landed, or here God touched, or here the Mary appeared.
Sacred spaces abound in Indianapolis. Not all are familiar. Perhaps the most visible are houses of worship.
Because our life is so consumed with daily routine, we need a place apart often, which we can consider a location for us to focus on things of meaning and ultimate significance in our life. So when we build a sanctuary, we build a church, we build a synagogue, we're saying here is a place where we can focus our attention on things that ultimately matter in our lives. In Judaism in particular, the experience of community is essential for experiencing the sacred.
Houses of worship express the values and cultures of the faith groups that use them.
Their sermon in stone. It's their prayer in concrete. It's their ritual in wood.
Size, architecture, location, setting, decoration or lack of decoration. They all carry meaning. A traditional style places the congregation in history, recalling the origins and heritage of the religion, and emphasizing the congregation's link to its predecessors. Contemporary style is a statement that a faith can retain its meaning while adopting modern forms. Relatively simple houses of worship speak of modesty, restraint, economy, sincerity. Elaborate buildings make a bold statement about the majesty and stability of the tradition, the glory and power of the divine. Placing a house of worship on top of a hill or in the center of a public area emphasizes the group's role in the community. Pictures, statues, windows, adornment, and physical layout all express religious and cultural values. In Roman Catholic churches, images of Jesus, Mary, his mother, and of key historical figures like saints are important because Catholic teaching emphasizes their role in mediating between human beings and the divine. They're also powerful models for human behavior and a sign of the presence of the divine among us.
O gracious God, source of all that is good, make our hearts ready to receive the mystery hidden for all ages.
A Muslim mosque does not contain images. Muslims understand all spaces as potentially sacred.
Islam is a monotheistic religion. It separates the two levels. One is the Creator himself, the one and only one God, and the creation. The entire creation is a separate level. There is no intermixture. When we talk about the place for prayer, the entire world is clean for prayer, to the extent that there is a saying of the Prophet that the whole earth has been made for me a place of worship. There are no idols, no pictures, nothing on the walls that would distract someone, the worshiper, from focusing on one and on one God only.
Many Protestant churches are spare in their decoration. This practice points to several ideas. One is an emphasis on the direct relationship between the divine and the believer. Another is the possibility that images could be mistaken as idols. The Protestants' idea of direct contact with God is very different than that of the Orthodox Christian faith. An Orthodox Christian church may have many icons, which are artistic depictions of Jesus, Mary, and the saints. Icons are treated reverently because they are a way to approach the divine.
Compassionate and loving God we have.
In the Orthodox tradition, as in other religions, the mystery of the divine is an important and powerful element in the faith. Throughout African American history, the church has been central to the struggle for equality and justice. Many African American churches display Reverend Martin Luther King Jr.'s picture, which honors the man and the church's cultural identity. At the India Community Center, a prayer service is watched over. A Hindu believed in simple piety. The Hindu faith also includes some stunning visual representations. Many of them come from stories that illustrate attributes of the divine. Inside houses of worship, some spaces are more sacred than others.
The Ark is at the center because in the Ark is the Torah. And the Torah, of course, is the first 5 books of the Bible, the books of Moses. The sense that the Ark is part of what is very holy in the synagogue would make a great deal of sense. It's the Holy of Holies, that place where the heart and soul of a people is contained within words that express a people's search for divinity. It is also something greater than that, and it also is a symbol beyond that of a great tradition that is contained within those scrolls.
Some sacred spaces are so special that only those who have worked, studied, and been authorized can enter them. In the Orthodox Christian Church, priests emerge from and go back to an area separated by a screen called an iconostasis. By tradition, only ordained deacons or priests are allowed here. Sometimes a building can convey different messages with its exterior appearance and interior layout. The exterior of the Roman Catholic Cathedral of Saints Peter and Paul in Indianapolis is traditional, reminiscent of the great and ancient cathedrals of Europe. The inside, however, has been redesigned with modern features. The seating is flexible, and traditional art no longer dominates. A side chapel retains a more traditional look. The larger message is that the Roman Catholics here are both traditional and modern. New forms can be expressed without violating the old ones. Space can be updated and retain its link to church history.
You've got to embarrass him and keep him on the run and take his head, get into his head. That's how you do it.
No matter what the architecture, sacred spaces receive their power from sacred actions or rituals and from symbols.
I don't care how beautiful a building is. If I don't sense that experience has gone on, I'll say, my, that's interesting architecture. But I won't say, I really ought to take the shoes off my feet because this is holy ground.
Listen to what the houses of worship say about the people who gather there, how they see themselves in relation to the divine and to the world.
The real reason why a place is sacred, becomes sacred space, is because a congregation meets there. The word church, after all, does not describe a building, but rather the word church is in reference to the congregation. And so any place can become sacred.
From living rooms to city street corners. More on sacred space in Episode 2 of Religion as a Window on Culture.